He has borne our griefs. Think about your own life and think about the griefs that you've experienced in your life. Any grief. That would say to me that our griefs, our sorrows, and another time we'll get into a little bit more detail about what those two words really mean, but implied in that is disease and sickness, weakness and infirmity. But the word grief and sorrow are powerful words too. Our griefs, our sorrows were borne by the Messiah. He took those on himself. But this is the thing. We looked at that, particularly Israel looked at that, and they were perplexed and they said, this man's on a cross. He must be cursed of the Lord. He can't be the Messiah. The Messiah is not going to be on a cross. The Messiah is going to save us. And yet what it says here is they were esteemed, they esteemed him stricken and smitten by God. They were completely wrong. God was not striking him and afflicting him because he was a bad person. God was striking him and afflicting him because of our being bad people. They were judging, or that, not they, but Jesus was being judged by the Father because of our sin. Being judged by the Father because of our sin. So that's how it's affecting us. Verse 5, but he was wounded for our transgressions. You see? He wasn't wounded for his transgressions. He was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. Well, what does that mean? It means that the sins that we've committed, Jesus was wounded for. Wait a minute, time out. Well, I don't understand. Why didn't the Father just forgive us? I mean, what's the problem? Why didn't he just say, I'm sorry that you guys did it. You guys are sorry that you did it. Let's just call it even. No, that's not the way that it is. You see, we're not understanding who we're dealing with. We're dealing with God. There is no getting off from this. If you've sinned, you die. If you've sinned, you die. Somebody has to pay. And what the deal here is, somebody other than us paid. But if we're not made aware of that, we skip through life going like, I guess I got away with something. That's interesting. No, we're not getting away with anything. We didn't get away with anything. In fact, Jesus was brutally murdered on our behalf. Well, that sounds really strange. I don't understand. You were talking about an animal. The Father did this to Jesus. The Father did that to Jesus. I thought people killed Jesus. They couldn't have touched him within 1,000 feet unless the Father allowed that to happen. Jesus proved it. In the Garden of Gethsemane, they came to take him, and they said, we're looking for Jesus. He said, who are you looking for? Who? Jesus. I am he. And all of a sudden it says that they drew back and all of them fell to the ground. Mm-hmm. They couldn't even stand up in his presence. No. So Jesus said, no man takes my life from me. I give it willingly. But we need to understand what happened once he gave his life. He was putting himself in the Father's hands for punishment. He was being punished. And he was being punished in some way that was destroying all of our responsibility as a race. In other words, all of our responsibility for the sin that had occurred under Adam and Eve's fall, and then everyone since then. Because it says every man has sinned. All of us sinned. All of us. All of us have sinned. Not just Adam and Eve. So somebody had to pay. Well, I don't like that about God. And I don't mean this with any disrespect to any of us, but it really doesn't matter what you think about it. Because that's the way that it is. He's God. He is holy. He is absolute light. So if there's darkness, we can't go into that light. We can't go. And yet, the paradox is, he created us for himself. And so, he's going to get the job done where we can come back to him.